Welcome to the most severe global energy disruption in recorded history. It is March 2026, and the world is currently witnessing a geopolitical earthquake that is sending shockwaves straight into the kitchens, commutes, and wallets of 1.4 billion Indians. To understand why your food delivery is delayed, why your flight tickets just skyrocketed, and why your local restaurant is suddenly cooking with firewood, we have to look 3,000 kilometers away to the Strait of Hormuz. The current crisis traces its origins to February 28, 2026. A joint force of the United States and Israeli assets launched a massive military offensive dubbed Operation Epic Fury, consisting of nearly 900 precision strikes targeting Iranian military and nuclear infrastructure. This unprecedented assault reportedly resulted in the death of Iran's supreme leader, Ayatollah Ali Khamenei. In immediate retaliation, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps launched over 1,000 missiles and drones targeting U.S. bases and regional energy hubs. But their most devastating move came on March 2nd, when Iran officially declared the Strait of Hormuz closed to international traffic. This narrow waterway is the aorta of the global economy. Normally, about 1/5 of the world's daily oil consumption and 20% of global liquefied natural gas, or LNG, passes through this specific corridor. While international law makes a formal closure difficult, the threat of drone swarms and naval mines has created a de facto blockade. Maritime insurance companies immediately withdrew coverage, effectively halting the flow of nearly 20 million barrels of oil per day. Brent crude oil prices violently breached the $100 per barrel mark, briefly touching a harrowing peak of $113.57. But nowhere is this shock being felt more intimately than in India. India is the world's third largest oil importer and consumer, and the second largest importer of liquefied petroleum gas, or LPG. When it comes to cooking gas, India imports roughly 60% of its total consumption. Out of those imports, a staggering 85 to 90% typically comes from Middle Eastern nations like Saudi Arabia and Qatar, right through the now-blocked Strait of Hormuz. When the strait closed, the supply chain snapped almost overnight. Fears of an LPG shortage triggered mass panic buying across the country. In West Bengal, daily bookings for Indian cylinders doubled from 1 lakh to 2 lakh. In Uttar Pradesh, chaotic stampede-like scenes erupted outside gas agencies as consumers rushed to hoard cylinders. While the government invoked the Essential Commodities Act to fiercely protect and prioritize domestic household LPG supplies, the commercial sector was thrown to the wolves. Commercial LPG cylinders, the lifeblood of restaurants, dhabas and hotels, vanished from official supply chains. The official price of a 19 kg commercial cylinder jumped to around 1,884 rupees. But, with official stocks running dry, a ruthless black market emerged. In Delhi, small street food vendors are being forced to pay up to 2,500 rupees for a single cylinder. In Bengaluru, restaurant owners have been quoted astronomical black market prices ranging from 8,000 rupees to 9,000 rupees per cylinder. The hospitality sector is buckling under the pressure. The Tamil Nadu Hotels Association warned that thousands of restaurants are badly hit. Iconic eateries have stopped serving fuel-intensive dishes like dosa, fried rice, and puri. In Hyderabad, restaurants have entirely abandoned modern stoves, resorting to cooking their famous biryanis over expensive firewood. Some establishments simply couldn't adapt. Around 20% of eateries in Mumbai have already shut down, and industry experts warn that up to 50 to 60% could face closure if the crisis persists. Even top educational institutions are feeling the burn. The Sri Ram School in Delhi had to issue a formal warning to parents, stating that they might have to suspend lunch and snack services for students because their caterers simply cannot procure commercial LPG. When restaurants shut down, the ripple effects tear through the modern gig economy. Food delivery platforms like Swiggy and Zomato are facing a severe crisis. With cloud kitchens and local dhabas running out of fuel, the volume of food being prepared has plummeted. The Gig and Platform Service Workers Union reported a devastating 50 to 60% drop in food delivery orders across these major platforms. Delivery partners who previously completed around 30 orders a day are now scraping by with just 5 to 10 orders. This sudden collapse in income is pushing nearly 1 crore gig and platform workers toward unemployment. Debt and what union leaders are calling a potential humanitarian crisis. Financial analysts at Motilal Oswal warn that this prolonged LPG Disruption will heavily moderate the gross order value growth for these delivery giants in the fourth quarter. Unsurprisingly, the stock prices of Zomato's parent company, Eternal Ltd., and Swiggy tumbled nearly 5% as investors panicked. But it's not just the gig economy. Corporate India is fundamentally altering its operations to survive the fuel crunch. IT giants like Infosys and HCL Tech have faced major disruptions in their campus cafeterias. With food court vendors unable to secure commercial LPG, these massive companies are operating with limited menus, sourcing food from external kitchens and heavily relying on electrical appliances. To manage the logistics, these companies are once again asking employees to work from home. A vice president at Wells Fargo took to LinkedIn, urging all companies to adopt remote work immediately. He argued that allowing employees to work from home is no longer just a business decision, but a vital act of corporate social responsibility. By keeping thousands of commuting cars off the road, the nation can conserve precious fuel and redirect it to critical sectors like healthcare, public transport, and emergency logistics. As if the ground wasn't chaotic enough, the skies are dealing with their own massive crisis. The war has triggered a dual nightmare for the aviation sector: blocked airspace and skyrocketing aviation turbine fuel, or TF, prices. Following the outbreak of the war, several Middle Eastern nations closed their airspace to commercial flights. This restricted one of the busiest aviation corridors linking Asia with Europe and Africa. Airlines are now being forced to divert flights either far north through Central Asia or south via the Arabian Sea and Egypt. These massive detours add hours to journey times, burning significantly more fuel. In just the first 3 days of the conflict, Indian airlines were forced to cancel over 1,100 international flights, bleeding an estimated 150 to 200 crore rupees per day. Simultaneously, global oil volatility pushed jet fuel prices in Delhi from 91,393 rupees per kiloliter in February to over Rs 96,600 by early March, with ATF making up 40% of an airline's operating costs. Carriers had no choice but to pass the pain to the consumer. Air India and Air India Express announced a phased implementation of fuel surcharges. Domestic passengers are now paying an extra 399 rupees per ticket. Flights to Southeast Asia saw surcharges rise to $60, while passengers flying to Europe or North America are being hit with surcharges ranging from $125 to $200 per ticket. SpiceJet's founder warned that if oil prices remain at these unsustainable levels, airlines might have to completely ground portions of their fleets. Down on the ground, the Indian Railways is facing its own culinary catastrophe. The Indian Railway Catering and Tourism Corporation, or IRCTC, serves nearly 17 lakh meals every day across the country. But the LPG shortage has severely crippled their base kitchens, where these meals are prepped before being loaded onto trains. In a drastic advisory, IRCTC directed all its food plazas, refreshment rooms, and base kitchens to urgently switch to alternative cooking methods like microwaves and induction plates. The situation is so grim that railway officials have formally proposed temporarily suspending all cooked meal services on long-distance trains, advising passengers that they may soon have to pack and carry their own food for travel. With LPG cylinders becoming a scarce luxury, Indian households and small businesses are being forced to adapt rapidly. We are witnessing an overnight revolution in kitchen technology. Out of fear of running out of gas, consumers have rushed to buy electric cooking appliances. According to Amazon India, the sales of induction cooktops have exploded, surging by an incredible 30 times their normal volume in just a few days. Rice cookers and electric pressure cookers have seen a 400% increase in demand, while multi-use kettles and air fryers have doubled in sales. Platforms like Blinkit and Flipkart are showing induction stoves completely sold out across major metros like Delhi, Mumbai, and Bengaluru. Energy experts have pointed out that this forced transition might actually be a blessing in disguise for India's long-term energy goals. Studies show that induction cooktops offer 85 to 90% energy efficiency, compared to just 55% for traditional flame-based LPG cooking, because they transfer heat directly to the cookware without ambient heat loss. In fact, operating an e-cooking setup for a family of 4 can be up to 37% cheaper annually than using non-subsidized LPG. To stretch whatever gas is left in their cylinders, the Indian Oil Corporation has been issuing emergency kitchen hacks. They are urging citizens to use pressure cookers with internal separators to cook rice, dal, and vegetables all at once. Other government advisories suggest soaking grains before cooking to reduce softening time, cooking with lids firmly on pots to trap heat, and batch cooking meals to minimize the number of times the stove has to be ignited. As panic swept the nation, the Indian government went onto a wartime footing. Addressing the parliament, Union Petroleum and Natural Gas Minister Hardeep Singh Puri acknowledged the historic severity of the crisis, but vehemently assured the public that India's fundamental energy security remains fully protected. How is India surviving when 20% of the world's oil is blocked? Through a massive multi-year strategy of supply diversification. Before this conflict, 45% of India's crude oil came through the Strait of Hormuz. Today, through aggressive diplomatic outreach, India has ramped up its non-Hormuz sourcing to a massive 70%. A decade ago, India bought oil from 27 countries. Today, it sources from 40. A crucial lifeline has been Russian crude. Thanks to a 30-day sanction waiver granted by the US, Indian refiners rushed to buy millions of barrels of Russian oil floating on the high seas, securing a massive alternative supply. Furthermore, India has spent years building vast strategic petroleum reserves, or SPRs, in massive underground rock caverns in places like Mangalore, Kadur, and Visakhapatnam. Government reports indicate that India holds an energy buffer exceeding 250 million barrels of crude and refined products. This means the country can sustain its entire energy chain for roughly 7 to 8 weeks without importing a single drop of new oil. In fact, India's reserves are so secure that when the International Energy Agency, the IEA, asked member nations to release their emergency oil reserves to artificially cool down global market prices, India flat out refused. Government sources cited an India First policy, explicitly stating that Indian reserves are strictly for physical supply disruptions within its borders, not for bailing out global price fluctuations caused by foreign wars. To manage domestic gas, the government issued a strict natural gas control order, establishing a ruthless priority hierarchy. Domestic piped gas for homes and CNG for public transport were placed at the absolute top, guaranteed 100% of their supply. Fertilizers were prioritized next to protect the agricultural sowing season. To make this happen, gas was forcefully diverted away from the lowest priority sector, power generation. As a direct result, the 370-megawatt Yelahanka gas-based power plant, which supplies electricity to Bengaluru, had its gas completely shut off by gale, raising fears of minor power disruptions as summer heat waves approach. Simultaneously, the government legally mandated all domestic refineries to maximize their LPG yields. By diverting specific hydrocarbon streams exclusively to cooking gas, India artificially boosted its domestic LPG production by an incredible 28% in just 5 days. Despite these Herculean mitigation efforts, the macroeconomic damage is unavoidable. Oil prices surging past $100 a barrel acts as a massive tax on the global economy. For India, higher fuel import bills immediately translated into severe currency pressure. The Indian rupee crashed to an all-time historic low of 92.36 against the US dollar in early March. Economists are sounding the alarm. If crude prices remain at $100 per barrel, India's federal expenditure could balloon by roughly 3.6 trillion rupees, or $39 billion, blowing past the government's fiscal deficit targets. Prices for everyday essentials, transported by diesel trucks, are creeping up, threatening to push inflation beyond comfortable limits. The timeline for this crisis remains highly uncertain. While some optimistic analysts and US President Donald Trump have suggested the war could end swiftly in a few weeks, military experts warn that neutralizing Iran's ability to block the Strait of Hormuz could take months. Even if a ceasefire is signed tomorrow, clearing the backlog of hundreds of anchor tankers and normalizing astronomical maritime insurance rates will take considerable time. Ultimately, the 2026 Hormuz blockade is a harsh historic lesson. It has vividly exposed the extreme vulnerability of relying on imported fossil fuels rooted through the world's most volatile geopolitical choke points. But it has also proven the value of strategic foresight. India's vast strategic petroleum reserves, its aggressive diversification of import partners, and the rapid adaptability of its citizens, shifting seamlessly to electric cooking and work-from-home models, have prevented a complete systemic collapse. As the world waits for the smoke to clear over the Persian Gulf, one thing is certain: This crisis will irrevocably accelerate India's transition away from imported oil and gas, and towards a future powered by domestic, renewable electricity. The kitchens of tomorrow will not rely on ships navigating war zones. They will rely on the sun, the wind, and the grid.